Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtrothi, and in spite of technical difficulties, this is the Eve Universe Show. How's it going? All right. So I'm going to start off with a bit of a non-Eve related hot take, which is that anyone who gives streamers shit, like the amount of creating all this content and then performing it all live should not be underestimated. I'll just put it that way. Oh my God. So I have this mic. I'm reasonably sure this was like a gift of my old cat by like biting on it in the wrong way or something like that. But basically, every time I plug it in, there's like a 20% chance that it'll actually work. I did it with an Astero yesterday. We'll talk about that. Yeah, all right. Well, I guess this mic isn't going to be our mic today. Hopefully this sounds good enough. Watch, it's going to just kick in like halfway through and then switch over. Excellent. Yeah, I end up liking the Astero. I have a Legion ready to go for this, but I have this Astero. I was using the Astero yesterday because it lets me run around in the site faster. But we will be talking about that. I went to the store today, and I live across the street from the supermarket, or from the grocery store. So I like walk, and I have this really awesome backpack from the military and all that stuff that I use. And I bought quite a bit today. So, and there's this big hill, so I didn't really think about it. I had both arms filled with bags and my backpack completely packed, lugging it up the hill. So now, recovering. Hey, thanks for that sub. Which LP store for the new ship blueprints? It is the four navies, right? So Federal Defense Union, State Protectorate, 24th Imperial Crusade, and Tribal Liberation Force. Oh, Marcus got it. All right. So, if I could have a volunteer that is willing to, like, jot down how into the stream we are when things happen that I should cut out for, like, highlights, like if we find the data site or whatever, that'd be super cool. I'd really appreciate that. Hey, Michael. Because I kind of don't know when we will actually find a site, for example. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns, things I need to talk about? I'm kind of... Oh, I'm going to actually do some of my call to action at the beginning of the stream, if that's all right, guys, and then at the end, too. But just a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that people knew. Firstly, obviously, YouTube has a different like announcement system for when I go live. The Twitch stuff won't work, and who the hell knows? I'm talking to people about moving or like setting up my own system to be preserved from any given platform's whims. But until then, and because of that, I actually recommend you go to our Discord. You find what you're looking for. That's true. If you go to our Discord, you can find there's a place to put roles on you, and you can give yourself the YouTube role. And I put the streams up, or I post all my streams and videos and other stuff there. Twitch streamers put their stuff up with the Twitch tag and all that stuff. So if you go to the Discord, and you don't have to join the convocation or anything like that, but you can go into the roles area, flag yourself for YouTube, and then you'll get all of my go live messages and all of my videos going live, as well as other content creators that put their stuff there. So that's what I recommend. Also, I want to thank all of the people who have helped with this transition by becoming a member on YouTube. We've actually already gotten quite a few of them, including Michael. Hi. And that really helps for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, that's how I pay my bills and have nice things, which is kind of nice. Oops, trying to set the sound volume. But also, this whole process has been kind of stressful for me. And while I was sort of waiting for, or I've been kind of eyeing switching over to YouTube for a while, I obviously was incredibly nervous about that, right? Because I knew that I had a lot of people that was watching on Twitch and whatnot, and it was without very much warning. And I started out on a day that I didn't normally stream, so like everything was working against it. So I was expecting there to be like 10 viewers or something like that. Was my nightmare scenario. But you guys have gone out of your way to make sure that you can still get my content, and I really it means so much to me. It motivates me to keep going. So I really want to say I appreciate it, not just in like a YouTube shtick, thanks to all my patrons kind of way, but like really, I didn't know what I was going to do, and so far, your guys' motivation and everything has done a lot to allow me to keep things together and make things even better than ever. So awesome! Shoot, I forgot the cool fancy thing I was going to do today. I have a plan. It's not going to be today, obviously. Thanks, Unafraid. But I actually have this drawing tablet that I can use as a third monitor, and so that way I can draw designs and have a whole display section. So that way I can point out stuff in text and on YouTube pages and stuff, or videos that we look at. So that's going to be cool too. So a lot of exciting stuff. The merch is still down there. I know that there has been a lot going on in the last couple of days, so I don't think we've updated it with the new stuff yet. But it's coming very soon. And then today we are going to be looking at a lot of the new stuff for the faction warfare stuff. Let me tell you guys. Obviously, on Tuesday, I was covering all of the patch notes, and we were talking about all these changes, and I've been covering all of these changes for a while now. But on the other hand, I was extraordinarily nervous, right? Faction warfare is my thing. I've been wanting this faction. We've been pushing for this faction warfare update since 2015, right? This is huge for me. But at the same time, that also made it the biggest risk, right? They were monkeying with things that were very foundational to faction warfare. The things that I considered to be the reason why faction warfare worked so well. And so there was a big piece of me that was quietly nervous that in the process of trying to make everything new again, they would actually make a system that just didn't work for one reason or another. And ended up, it's well, now faction warfare sucks, So, yeah, oh yeah, all the pressure for sure. But yesterday, as I was running around doing my exploration and stuff and hanging out with the other guys on the Galmilf Discord, talking to people about all the different things that people were doing, we had people, one of our dudes that is really, really good, always flying around in frigates and stuff. Last night was flying around in an executive Navy issue right? Like people were just flying around in all kinds of different stuff because the plexes allow you to do that now in a way that you couldn't before. And not just that, but now there are legitimate reasons for scanners, combat scanners. There's combat scanning sites. There's hacking sites. They need these hacking sites in order to get the doodads that they need in order to get the advantage. So we need like full-time explorers, hackers, and combat explorers, like for realsies in faction warfare now. That's like a thing. So all of this makes it like yesterday. It brought a tear to my eye. I played around with the systems, and just after a little while playing around with the systems, I am so excited. This is the most excited I have been to actually sit down and play Eve, like off stream or off, not making content or anything like that, but just sitting down and playing the game. I haven't been this excited to do that without an event being involved for a very long time. I guess invasions is one thing, but even then, like, we did that on stream so much that when the stream was over, I generally unwound somewhere else or just hanging out in chat or something like that. So, I stayed up way too late last night because I was running around and scanning and hacking in Eve. That's incredible, right? My No Man's Sky base is going to suffer quite dramatically because of all of this. So today, I wanted to show you a little bit about some of the newer aspects. I want to focus on making a series of videos that help people get into faction warfare and be successful. And the actual Plex fighting and stuff hasn't changed too much. We'll talk about that probably another time. But today, I want to look into the exploration factor of things. Okay? So to begin, we're going to actually look at why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? There has been a lot of questions that I've been asked, which is how do you get the new ships from that has been released, right? The faction dreads, the faction destroyers, the faction frigates, the faction battlecruisers, all that stuff. Well, the 4 different militias, each empire has their own militia: the Federal Defense Union, the State Protectorate, the 24th Imperial Crusade, and the Tribal Liberation Force. If you go to one of their stations and you open up the loyalty points store, this is where you get all of your rewards. This is basically the bread and butter of faction warfare, right? Because most of the time you're being rewarded in LP. So this is the stuff you get. So for those of you looking for the BPCs, you can go to here and filter out to blueprints. So with each of these ships, there is... I didn't know you could just do it with a gold tag. That's cool. Anyway, you can either trade in the ship to get a new ship, or like trade in the base ship. So if I have a Myrmidon, I can turn it in for a Myrmidon Navy issue. Actually, let me just... if I have a Myrmidon and 2 Gallente Beta Nexus chips, which are gotten from the LP store, and 100,000 LP, I can turn that Myrmidon Navy issue, or Myrmidon into a Myrmidon Navy issue. However, if I have 40,000 LP, so 2/5 of the LP and 10 million ISK, I can get the BPC. And the BPC unlike other like faction and T2 and stuff, the BPC doesn't actually take any additional materials, and it doesn't take the base thing. Let's look. Let's just double check. So if we see here, 73,583,000. Oh, never mind. It does take a little bit extra. It takes a little bit extra because it takes the extra doodads. That's right. So it does take the life support backup units and the auto integrity preservation seals. These are the fairly standard Tech 1, or not Tech 1, R4 reactionables. So this is the stuff that was added in invasions, or sorry, with the industry changes. It takes a little bit of PI, and it takes these reinforced carbon fibers. And reinforced carbon fibers come from reactions of different moon goo. So like these different materials here, if you look, they take silicates and atmospheric gases. This take atmospheric gases and hydrocarbons, and this takes evaporate deposits and hydrocarbons. So all of the materials to make all of this stuff comes from HiSec and wormhole moons, R4 moons. And then you react it into this stuff. Then you build it with some PI into these things. And then you add that with the basic materials, plus the blueprint that you bought from LP. And Bob's your uncle, you now have a Myrmidon Navy issue. So in general, if you can build things, it is much cheaper to build it with the BPC. But if you already have the ship and you just need to make it happen, it costs a little bit of extra LP, and it takes the Nexus chips, but you can just transform them into the ship that you want. So, but we're not actually here to get ships today. We are here because there are two new things that are incredibly important to faction warfare now. This is the Gallente listening outpost, and this is the Gallente propaganda structure. To understand how these two work, we need to actually understand a little bit about the changes that were made to the faction warfare system. It used to be that any given system has 1,000 victory point threshold. Now, victory points were one of those things that most people didn't even know about, right? But the short of it is that anytime you finished a plex, or a site rather, doesn't matter the size it was, you got roughly 0.7% in your direction, either towards contested or towards stable, right? Depending on if you're defensive or offensive. And nothing really changed that. It didn't matter if it was the largest plex, the smallest plex, whatever, right? It all gave the same amount of progress to control. However, now you can only really progress in the front line and the command operations areas. So that greatly concentrates the areas of that people will be plexing, which has been doing pretty good. But there's a new stat that's known as the advantage system. What is this blue arcing line? This blue arcing line here is the gate between Samanuni and Othanoon that was made by the Caldari during the latest event. The Amignon gate would have been from there to there. This is where our gate would have gone if I had one. I made that meme yesterday on Twitter too. But, you know, like real talk, can we all just please take this as an opportunity to accept the fact that CCP has actually gone and done it? You know, an event actually had, you know, our decisions actually determined the end of the event. This gate could have been built 100%. There is nothing that stopped it except for the fact that we didn't build it. And now it's gone. We're not going to ever have this gate, or at least probably not ever going to have this gate. And this constellation is probably only going to get more important. So this Samanuni Othanoon gate is pretty serious. And we'll probably check it out a little bit later. But Othanoon itself has gotten a little bit spicier when it comes to state presence. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot going on right now. obviously the Federation took a whole bunch of systems. There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding about that too, by the way. A lot of I've heard from both sides frustration that this happened, and it's like, oh, but these systems, we were fighting over them. In fact, one of the Gallente guys were like, if CCP wanted these things to go to Gallente, then they should have given us the, made it so that we could do it better. But the whole point of this operation was a demonstration of the difference between the standard operating procedures of the Militia War Powers Act, by which we act upon as individual capsuleers, albeit with very nice equipment, and the full might of one of these empires' navies when they decide to actually do something that is an absolute violation of every single treaty within the cluster. So it is not, these are not the same thing, right? When the Gallente came in and took Intaki, they removed the militia iHub and added their own, right? It is now Gallente. So that is a much more significant thing. And I know there are some people who are like, oh, well, we controlled it or whatever. But the whole thing is that, like, you're right. And all of that history was true. And a lot of it led to what actually happened, right? But at the same time, these empires are, in fact, extremely, extremely strong, right? And when they decide to actually move, they can do quite a bit. We are but pawns in their game of war, and maybe rooks and knights and stuff like that. I mean, pawns may be a bit of a stretch, but that's the whole point there. And the other thing is that this is only the beginning, okay? The state has already acted in reinforcing Othanun, and I assume that there's going to be more to come sooner rather than later. Specifically, there has been agreements already in place. There was contracts from like a year ago that were laid out where the Mountain Faction, which consists of the two largest mega corporations in the Caldari state, the Kalakeota and the Suvi corporations, gained a bunch of contracts to basically build up Caldari facilities within the war zone. So I actually suspect that we're going to see potentially new stations being built within the war zone as the state attempt to solidify their power within this contested zone. I also really like the fact that it was the Gallente that made the strike, because it really plays into the fact that while the Gallente attempt to appear to be the good guys on paper, there really isn't that much difference between the Gallente and the Amarr, right? One uses the trappings of religion, the other uses the trappings of democracy, but they're both basically just trying to subvert and take over everyone else in one way or another. So the idea that the aggressors were the Gallente and the Amarr, I think really works. If it was just the state being an asshole and the Amarr being an asshole, that would make a clear line of like Minmatar and Gallente are good, Caldari and Amarr are evil. But that's not the case. It is far more complex than that, which is the way it should be, in my opinion. Do you think that it was done from a dev perspective to shrink the play area? Absolutely. The Gallente Caldari warzone was twice as large as the Minmatar Amarr warzone, and so we could lose an entire constellation without noticing much. It also makes this entire the texture of this war zone to be a little bit more interesting. Something to think about: any system that is adjacent to a high-sec system that belongs to an empire is always going to be, at the very least, a front line. Okay? So, for instance, Fliet, right? Fliet, our home, is adjacent to Acti, which is a high-sec system owned by the Gallente. So it doesn't matter. The entire war zone could be taken, and Fliet will still be a front line if it's owned by the Caldari. Not that will ever happen, but I'm just saying, like, that's the worst that could ever happen. Likewise, Lowe's could/should have been a command outpost. But because a Goes is taken out of the war zone, Lows can only ever be a front line when owned by the Caldari. It also means that if we just take a couple of these systems, like if we took Old Man Star, for instance, this whole area basically locks down into rear guard. If we take Lattister, then this whole cluster becomes rear guard. And if we take these 7 systems, this entire area becomes rear guarded, which is pretty fucking sexy. Likewise, as you can see here, they have tons of rear guard areas too with nice little choke points. They could pretty much do the same thing in this area when it got there. So I think that overall they evaluated the war zone and the nature of the rules that they changed it to and saw that this was the best way to kind of set things in a more fair way. Yes, one side can always it could take the entire war zone. However, all of the systems that are connected to an enemy high-sec system will always be at least a front line, right? So if the war zone was completely captured by the Caldari, it would all be blue, with most of it dark blue, but a lot of these systems down here that are next to the Gallente would remain light blue because they would be frontline. That's it. Likewise, if we took the entire war zone, most of these areas up here that are attached to high-sec areas of theirs would be that. Is it low-sec as well? It could be low-sec as well. That's likely. It could be very well that low-sec, Empire low-sec. I'm saying Empire high-sec, just be careful. But yeah, you're right. It could very well be low-sec as well. I don't have all of the details memorized yet. An exact reversal of the Empyrean Age? Not really. Not really. I mean, it was a Gallente general that supposedly crashed into I guess you're right. Yeah, so it goes as a low sec. So yeah, that would have to be true. You're right. The peace talks were ostensibly stopped in Empyrean Age by a Gallente commander flying a Nyx into a station. So it is true that the state were one of the main peoples, or at least the Ishikone, were the ones building the Insurum drug, which was the big catalyst of that whole thing. Anywho, let's get back into what we were talking about. So what we want to do, if we want to fight or if we want to plex, we want to go to these front lines because they're going to give us 150% LP. It's really good LP right now, guys. Like, seriously, this is good fucking money right now. You could actually, theoretically speaking, fairly easily, actually, and not even theoretically, you could very much, in a single day of, busting your hump, make enough LP to buy the blueprint for the Moros blueprint. The blueprint for the Moros Navy, right? Like, that's where we're at now. So if you're a dedicated plexer, you can make tons of LP, make lots of money right now, and forward the advancement of freedom and or fascism, depending on which one you want to choose. Arazith, I was dodging over some of the more hidden. No, yeah, but you're absolutely correct. Okay, so we don't want to plex today because, as I was saying earlier in the explanation, these sites now have not only their contested value, but they have another stat called advantage. Okay, advantage is a stat that controls how much victory points any given plex that you complete is worth. In other words, it controls how fast you can take a system, how many sites it would take to take a system. Likewise, if your advantage is higher than the enemy, then if you go plex for plex, you'll still win because you're making more per plex as far as progress in the contested value goes than they are in their plexus. So advantage has become incredibly important, okay? And there are only two ways to get or lose advantage. It's also worth noting, this is a very confusing system, I have found. A lot of people, this is the thing that people have had the hardest time wrapping their brain around. It may be because it's the most new of the systems. So, people with faction warfare experience, they get all of the other stuff. But this is kind of confusing. So let's talk about it. Each system has a contested value for both sides. And the actual contested value of a system is controlled by, the actual advantage of a system is controlled not only by the advantage within that system, but also the advantage of all adjacent systems. And there's a base advantage, I believe, that is built in based on the status of the other systems around you, right? So, at the very least, you build them up and you destroy them in two different ways, okay? There are sites that you can find in specifically these command operations centers, I think maybe in front lines as well. And those would be the rally points and the supply depots, okay? Rally points, I have found basically one rally point of both sides in most of the, most if not all of the command outposts that I have ran into. These are combat sites. They have a relatively nasty battleship at the end of it, but you can do it with a cruiser or two. And when you complete a rally point, you increase the advantage for your side. It makes your bar for advantage go up, okay? If you, then there's another type of site called the supply depot, which we haven't actually managed to run yet, and that'll become clear why in just a second. Completion of the supply depot removes, oh yeah, there are in front lines, great. Completion of the supply depot removes advantage from the enemy, okay? So Rendezvous increases your advantage, and supply depot destroys their advantage, okay? So that's why, especially right now, supply depots are kind of hard to find. You can think of supply depots as effectively quanta of advantage, right? So if there isn't very much advantage built up, then there's no supply depots spawned. As systems build up their supply or their advantage, more of these supply depots will spawn, I presume. However, you do not require these sites to influence advantage. There's another way, and that is where we come in as explorers. There are two new items. There is there's the propaganda broadcast structure and the listening outpost. In the same way as the rendezvous point increases your own advantage, the propaganda broadcast tower likewise increases your advantage. And just like the supply depot, the Gallente listening post, sorry, I'm just reading it off the thing. The listening post reduces your opponent's advantage, which means using a listening post where your opponent doesn't have advantage, I'm pretty sure you can still do them. It just doesn't do anything for advantage because there's no advantage to destroy. Now, both of these structures are actually closer to rogue drone beacons, the crab beacons, than anything else. When you drop them down, a timer starts, and enemy rats will come and try to destroy it. Now, because you have anchored it, this is not a dead space site. This is not anything special. You just anchored it wherever you anchored it. So people could show up, people can combat probe you, people can Sino, whatever, to disrupt it. And of course, the rats will try to destroy it as well. You can repair these structures to attempt to keep them alive. And of course, kill off everybody who comes to destroy it, NPC or otherwise. Once it's completed, it ends, and you gain that advantage, right? You don't have to worry about it from that point on. Once the timer is over, that propaganda broadcast tower is done, and you just the advantage increments, and then they have to do something to lower your advantage. Spoons, can you tell me, is there a reward for completing those sites? So because of that, these structures are now absolutely paramount to these invasions, right? If you want to take a system, you need to have good advantage. So what we could do is we could get a bunch of these propaganda towers, secure an area, and just pump it up, right? And kill anybody who comes to mess with us. That sounds really cool. But we need these broadcast structures. Now, I have tons of LP, as you can see. I can't buy these right now. Why not? Well, because the propaganda broadcast structure requires encoder splices, and the listening outposts require decoder packages. In theory, both of these doodads are recovered from the new exploration sites. There's also LP payout of 10k LP split between defenders of the beacon. There you go. That's pretty good. Is there a reward for disrupting the sites? Yeah, killing all the players trying to put it down. Yeah, and a lot of these things you can actually get involved in. However, what we're doing today, you can't. You actually have to be in faction warfare to do what we're about to do today. So we need to get for our team. The short of this is, it's also worth noting that the resource, the rendezvous points and the supply caches, both of which require you to scan them down. They are not anomalies. They are signatures. So what this means is we have need for scanners and combat scanners constantly now in the war zone. We need people dedicated to running around, hunting for these doodads, hunting for the sites, calling up reports to command, and allowing us, facilitating the machines of war. That is fucking cool. All right. So that's why we're here today. We want to look at these things and see how to do them best, because the sites themselves are also a little bit confusing. So what we're going to do is we're going to set a destination way up here in their rear guard, because you can only find the hacking sites in the rear guard systems. Okay. I wish I could right click on this and set destination. Why can't I set this map needs a little bit more tweaking to make that work. All right. So also, it's worth noting that since you're running around the LowSec looking for data sites, last night when I was running around, I actually it was touch and go about how many sites that I was looking for I got. But what I did find was 2 ghost sites. And that's the other thing about this. Maybe we'll see one today, maybe we won't. But both ghost sites I saw. Now, when they made the industry changes, they changed ghost sites. There used to be 4 cans evenly spaced. But now there's an additional can at the very top. And that additional can is, I believe, always good, right? And in the case of LowSec covert sites, I got these electroneural signalizers. These things are worth 43 million each and are necessary for the construction of capital parts. So basically, both sites were worth 50 million, no problem. I just went in there, I stayed cloaked, snuck up onto the top can, hacked it, ran over to one more can, hacked it, and left. So that way I didn't get blown up. But maybe we'll see them, maybe we won't. My point is that when you're running around doing these things, you're going to find more than just these data sites. You'll also find sleeper caches. You'll also find Aegis sites, and you'll also find these covert sites. So depending on how daring you want to be and how prepared you are, one of the things I've been looking at is getting like a T3 cruiser that is just dedicated to run around and doing all of these things. So that way I can just knock them all out and do whatever. But today we're going to do the Astero just so we can move around and maneuver really quickly. And we'll experiment with the heavier equipment later. Does that also mean that caps are a more common sight in faction warfare now? I mean, like, it's too early to tell, but I presume so. Because, yeah, I mean, like, people were apparently they dropped the fax to protect one of their beacons the other day, or yesterday when they were experimenting. But, I mean, caps also get very much involved when it comes to, structure conflict and iHubs. And with the fact that there are now faction dreads, I could definitely see... I would be shocked if we didn't see more caps being used in faction warfare. Hell, I mean, like, there's no real reason to not start using... like running crab beacons and shit around here. Ghost sites are not low sec only. However, there are different ghost sites for each band of space, right? So there's the lowest tier ghost sites are in high sec, then there's low sec, null sec, and wormholes. And the wormhole ghost sites, I think, have the doodads for super capitals. Hey! Thank you for that, AR. Does that mean you became a member, I think? It just says a sponsor. Anyway, while we're moving, I'm gonna run an ad. Speaking of giving me money, we'll be moving over to the back lines right now, and I'll run an ad. Wormhole sites are not the same in nullsec. Are the same in wormhole. I thought that the wormhole sites, I thought they were different. I don't think that Null would have complained if they could just get it themselves. Somebody let me know when everybody's back too. Although, if you're not back, I guess you're not hearing this instruction. All right, so we're now in a Caldari frontline system. Okay, good, back. Got it. Hey, Rob, thank you for that. So now we're in a command operation system, right? Command operation systems are next to front lines. So in one more jump, we'll be good to go, right? So let's go ahead. Let's go Hiri. High-grade Ascendancy Omega. Yeah, I got, well, that was the other thing. I got a mid-grade Ascendancy Delta and a mid-grade Ascendancy Omega yesterday as well. Blueprint. Oh, yeah, the map is great. Jebby? What happened to Jebby? Where is Jebby? Was he one of the ones that got hired? No, I don't think so. Bjorn B did. All right, so now I'm in a rearguard system. So I'm going to start scanning. I have all these different, I have what, 5 different signatures? Cool. If you really want to get good at scanning, it's all about hotkeys, in my opinion, right? So, Alt scroll wheel increases and decreases the stuff. You double click on a point to center it. You double click in space to switch it between the 2 perspectives, so that way you can line it up easily. Drop it down a notch or 2 each time, and boom, you get the thing you want. This is a ring. Rings are when not enough probes manage to hit the point. So it doesn't know exactly where it is. It could be anywhere within this ring. However, if you look, my probes are all crossing here, so we know it's not on this side. And even here, this is too many probes crossing for us to get a ring. The only place it's eligible to give us a ring is this area right on the edge here. This is always true with rings, by the way. The furthest point from your probes are going to be where the thing is. So I can go and move it right here and probe. Boom. Echoes are actually even better than rings when it comes to pinpointing things. That's when 2 different points appear with a line between them, but rings are still pretty good. To the point where I actually I like to cause echoes and rings when I can, because you actually, normally a site has deviation to where it is, right? It won't actually be exactly where it says it is, based on your own scan deviation. However, because echoes and rings only happen when a certain number of probes hit it, you actually can narrow down exactly where the thing is closer than you could with normal jitter, right? See? So here's echoes, right? Here's 2 different echoes. This one's going to be the easier one. Now, an echo is when very few of your probes hit, right? So, but if this one in the echo was correct, we can see like almost all my probes would have hit it. It wouldn't be an echo. It would just be a result. So this one down here, which is where very few of the probes come together, that's where the echo is going to be. And in fact, I can even tell you, given the way that they come together, that the echo is actually probably going to be closer to being in this little area here. So let's see. The way that probing works is that when the probe happens, there you go, see? Nailed it. When the probe happens, every probe sends out a ping and receives the distance to every single signature within its range, right? Now, a distance doesn't tell you a direction. But if you get 2 points that both give you a distance, you now know that it's either over there or over there. That's why you get an echo, right? If you get 3 points, 1, 2, 3, then it could be anywhere in this area where the 3 points are evenly close, or the correct distance away from the point. That's why you get a ring. More than that, and you actually start getting enough information to be able to pinpoint its location in 3-dimensional space. The more ones and more probes at that point increases its strength and reduces its jitter, because you have more probes able to correct for each other, right? The jitter itself exists not because it gets the point and then just moves it. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. 2 points is a ring, because if you've got 2 points then the ring will be the area in between the 2 points, right? Because that ring is equidistant from within the 2 points. This is why I need my pen tablet. But the echo comes from 3 different things, and it could be on one side or the other side. So that's right. However, my point is more about the mechanics of what's actually happening when you scan, right? Understanding that helps you understand what's going on. The jitter is not because it gets your location or gets the location and then decides to move it. It's because the distance that each probe receives from the signatures has jitter. And then it takes that data together and from it builds the location. Oh, hey, did I get that wrong? You feel me? So, it's one of those garbage in, garbage out sort of situations. Oh, yep. And that's the other thing. If for some reason you ever guess wrong with an echo, if you put it right on one of the echoes and it scans it and it fails, just hit the other one. This is actually why when I do an echo, the one thing I do make sure is that the probes don't hit both sides of the echo. Because if you get a new result on a signature, it'll update its location. But if you don't hit it at all, it'll stay exactly where it thinks it is, right? So in the event of an echo, you scan one, although this would be very hard to not do it that way. This is a very odd echo. If I bring it down so that way this side of the echo isn't in the probes, this is actually a little greedy, then it'll either be correct or it'll give no result at all. And if it gives no result at all, then I'd be able to just move the echo to the other point. Hey, look, another echo. That's cool. %6 prospector implants. That's true. Also, the number one upgrade that you should consider as a early explorer is your sister probe launcher, or not sister probes, probe launchers, sister probes. The sister probes are very, very cheap, and the sister probes and the sister probe launchers give you basically the same bonus, I believe. Now, obviously, having both is better, but yeah. All right, so this system doesn't have anything. Kadama. Let's go. How are the rewards on these sites? The new sites rewards are relatively meh. Maybe a million to 3 million ISK per data site that you run into in these Caldari ones, or in the Faction Warfare ones. However, that's not including the doodads. And I'm not sure how much these doodads are going to end up being worth, but like I said, the factions now need these things in order to control their advantage. So we'll have to just see how much that plays out. I know that Nyx is, I believe, buying them over market value at the moment. But I also just donated all the ones I found yesterday, so I haven't really I haven't really worked that part of it out. Like I said earlier, though, when you're doing this, you're also going to find sleeper sites and you're also going to find ghost sites. And if you run those are some of the stupidest best ISK in all of exploration. So, like yesterday, I managed to pick up six doodads, but then I also picked up 120 million ISK worth of stuff just on the side. Though most of it was not actually from the Caldari sites. I just, was running both type of data sites when I encountered them. By the way, the reason why I'm scanning all of these sites, even when I know that it's not something I want, is so that way the scan is completed, right? If I don't log out, then these scans will remain saved. So once I go through here once and scan everything, I'll be able to swing through here again and immediately detect any changes in SIGs. I am in I'm in rear guards. You have to, yes, it has to be in a rear guard system. That's true. I'm sorry. You're right. This my gutter's blocking things really quick. So if you look here, just minimize this for their safety, or their, I guess not safety, but privacy. Yeah. And webcam. There we go. And other way. Ah! Oh, no, I did. I messed it up. It's supposed to be the other way. Shoot. Whoop. There we go. So you can see that I'm in a rear guard system now. Oh, the Build a Gate competition is over. You have until next Wednesday to contract me your proof, and I'll count it. However, because of the nature of things, I reserve the right to not count ships' hulls if it's suspicious in any way, because I know that people could theoretically just game it at that point. So tokens and ship losses are fine, are absolutely great. But if somebody contracts me like 30 Imicuses, I'm probably going to be like, yeah, you know. So prizes are there. Right now, I think that the leader is has only or the number one place is 3,000 tickets so far. So it's not that unreasonable, even if you only got a few. You know, we've got 20 winners. So hell, at this point, who knows? Maybe if you turn it in, we won't even get 20 people, and then everybody will get a prize. So it's worth it to you. Just contract to me any of your Gallente loyalty tokens and show me your ship losses of Imicus Navy issues or Myrmidon Navy issues from before the patch, and any ships that you have, and I'll see about that. But we'll give winners. Make sure to put as the asking for it, like a Tiamat, like an AT ship or something like that. Some people have done, the several 100 billion ISKs that I asked originally, but unfortunately, I think that makes it so that it charges you a shit ton of money to do it, and that sucks. I also had at least one person that didn't charge me any collateral at all, or charge me anything, and of course I still rejected it. I have it on my Twitter saying this is what integrity looks like, but just for everybody's sake, don't contract it to me for zero unless you were wanting to give it to me. Until this deal is over, I'm going to be rejecting contracts, because what I do is I count them and then I reject the contract once I've added them to the thing. So, yeah, hold on. I have a spreadsheet. That's the thing. So next Wednesday is when I will figure out who the actual winner is. So you have until next Wednesday to contract me the stuff. Oh no, chat is wrong. There we go. Yeah, that's what they're saying. The completion of the propaganda towers is 10k LP. That's right. That sounds correct. It may be worth that means it may be worth 10k or 15k in a command or in a frontline, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the faction warfare changes occurred at the expansion, which was last Tuesday or this Tuesday, so 2 days ago. So we're still all feeling out. We're still really feeling out the whole system for sure. There's still a lot of unknowns. Oh, so there we go. If you don't have enough at all, you get the big red bubble, right? Now, again, most of the big red bubble is inside of most of my probes. So I can actually just put the probes over here. And I can shrink it down a little bit. Hopefully this will work. I'm actually being super greedy right now. But the thing is that I'm kind of also trying to trigger another echo or... Nope. So that didn't work, so I'm going to bump it up one more. Oh, okay. Well, then I could be just totally bad on that one. In that case, I'm going to rely on the fact that every signature has to be within 4 AU of a thing, of a like a celestial. So I'm actually going to go over here. Since it's not here, and it wasn't over here, I'm going to actually put it right here and see if this works. Right now, I'm not trying to be like this isn't trying to be efficient. This is more just trying to have fun and poke at the probing system. Ah, see? Okay, and then there's a ring. Oh, that's why, because it was a red ball with jitter. That's the thing. Because this point over here was not actually in the original red ball area. That may also be pretty greedy, but we'll see. Nope, yep. Another ring. So then it goes here. Two notches down with a ring is definitely greedy. With an echo, it's pretty reasonable because it's a very narrow place. All right. Man, nothing here either. Do I think that there'll be more players in Faction Warfare after these changes? There already are. Not only do we have a ton of people coming back, but like this is where it's at right now, man. Like Faction Warfare very much arguably has always been some of the best content in EVE. And this change is 2014 me's fucking dream, man. Like this is realization of all of the potential that we saw in Faction Warfare, right? I can't express enough how happy nearly everybody I've talked to from the Faction Warfare side of things are right now with the systems itself. I mean, like, sure, there's little complaints here or there, maybe, but overall, I've seen nothing but people being super pumped up and having tons of fun. I mean, the fact that you can just grab an exec for a Navy issue now and go run around and, like, run plexes and get fights. Because the fact that Navy sites exist at the bigger tiers now is huge. It's huge. Because you can get a faction cruiser and go and run Navy cruiser sites and know that you're not going to get run into by, a curse or something like that. You can run faction battle cruiser sites, right? Like it's really, it is very much opened up the possibilities. Reddit has even been fun. Reddit has been positive, right? Like The biggest complaint that people have been having is the station thing, which, let me talk about that for a second. Hold on, let me make a marker. So the biggest complaint that I've seen from this expansion so far is the idea that the docking animations and undocking animations are slower and take far more resources than the old ones, and therefore takes a little bit longer and hurts multi-boxers. Now, I was under the impression that, for the most part, the animations are simply to cover up the session timers, right? But then this guy on Reddit, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, but I gave him credit in my tweet, posted these two videos, which I should probably pull up. But actually, let me do that real quick. Oh, really? Except I tweet too much, so it'll be fun to find it. Ah. All right, so we're going to look at Urschlag and Rushlock as a before and after. Okay, so this is the before. That's really fast, right? So he clicks it. Boom. It's dark. He's out. Also, it's worth noting that if we look at here and we go to exactly when it goes dark, there's about 3 seconds remaining in the video, okay? Till it goes up again. This is Rushlock's. He clicked undock, and you can see it takes its sweet time. You can't see it because I haven't made it visible yet. Why isn't this visible? Hold on. Let me try this again. Very fast, right? Click, out, light, right? Yeah, please show. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Sorry. And then this is the post patch. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it took like 5 seconds. What it took effectively no time at all, right? One less than a second to 5 seconds. So does that mean that these people who are complaining is correct? Kind of. So let's think about what's really happening here. What's happening here is the fact that Upwell citadels or Upwell structures did not have an undocking delay. If you undock from a normal station, an NPC station, it says undocking confirmed, and it sits there and does that for a few seconds, or cancel undocked rather, and then it switches to undock confirmed. It takes about 4 or 5 seconds for that to happen. So what I would postulate is happening here is they're absolutely correct. The time it took to undock from an Upwell structure a week ago was shorter than it takes today. But that's because that undocking did not respect or follow the standard session timer working. So it's not what is the word? It's not parity with the old Upwell structure timer, but it is pretty close to parity with MPC structures, right? So does that make it better? No. I'm just trying to understand the situation, if that makes sense. So that's my current take on that whole shebang. Whether or not it's good, whether or not it's bad, I'm not going to weigh in on that. Beyond saying that, like, especially from the multi-boxer point of view, here's my thing about that, okay? What activity, really, let's think about this. What activity do multi-boxers conduct that is so time sensitive that an extra 3 seconds on your undock is going to make all the difference, right? I mean, by definition, multi-boxing is kind of not efficient anyways. You're kind of giving up the moment-to-moment reaction for the ability to be doing it on multiple characters at the same time. The only things that a multi-boxer would want to do where they have to undock all of them at the same time and it's time sensitive is ganking. That's the only one. That's it. That's the thing. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm listening to people complaining about it, because, like, if you're just running a mining fleet, then who gives a fuck? Just hit undock with everything and then just wait a couple seconds. You're going to be tethered anyways. Oh, also, shoot. One thing that I've done now with the overview. Oh, you can't see it now. Shoot. With the overview, with the changes to, God, what am I trying to say? The photon. Photon makes it so that you can crush your local and all that stuff. But what I've started doing now is, as you can see, I actually have local on the far right side to the right of my overview. So that way I have all of my intel stuff at the same place. That way I will notice, because if I have my local on the left side and if I have my overview on the right side, the chances of me tunnel visioning on the overview and missing a local spike is much higher. Now, they're all kind of in the same cluster of place. So that's nice. So I've been experimenting a little bit with my layout. The other thing I've started doing is, I used to complain that CCP made the map full screen, but if they just made by default the overview to be always on top, then that would fix this problem. But what I've done is I've done that to both the overview and my local, right? So now when I want to open up the map, I just have to hit F10 and it's full screen. So I've got plenty of room for the full screen. I still have all of my intel, so I'm just as functional. And I no longer keep open the map window because I just open it and close it with F10. So that's been my kind of new experiments when it comes to how I run my UI. Yes, you can. No, you can. You can. You absolutely can float the map. My point is that by doing it this way, I don't have to have real estate on my screen for the map. I think that this is also wrong. I'm going to have to go back and bump it up a notch. I've been kind of talking instead of paying attention, but we'll see. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you can scale your UI and stuff. And then, but the other thing is that what that means is that now if I want to look at local, I just pull this open. Oh no, why is this, why is my, there. The overview is not supposed to be on top. I can pull this open, look at chat, and then close it again. Is this a sleeper cache? Oh, no, it's a covert. See? Here's a covert. So we got a covert. We don't get we don't get the thing we're looking. You never find what you're looking for, right? Let's go ahead and just do this real quick. So one of the keys here is, as far as I know, actually, let me explain. A covert facility is what's also known as a ghost site. Basically, a ghost site, when you get into it, starts an invisible timer that's like somewhere between 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes or something like that. When the timer is over, a bunch of rats show up, and then they blow you up by blowing up the towers or whatever. And also, if you fail the hack, the tower blows up, and that can kill you. So ghost sites are very deadly, but they're also extremely lucrative. Now, it wasn't until I decloaked that my timer actually started. So here we go. My goal is to hack 2 different cans quickly. Not like that. So there's one. Get the loot. And then run to the other database. The other data, this part isn't like how you want to do it after the first. Oh shit, there's the anathema. I'm out. I got the expensive piece. Enter now auto loots. So this one piece, that one hack that we just did, net me 43 million. And you're looking for the same kind of site, right? Like they're data sites either way. So that's what I meant by like, it kind of doesn't even matter what the doodad sites give, because you're also going to be doing these other sites that give just stupid amounts. Although now that I've seen that anathema, it's probably a bit more dangerous to keep it going in here. However, the anathema can't even hack the cans. You have to be in the correct militia to hack the new cans, from my understanding. Yep, super quick, in and out, 40 million, no problem. From my understanding, there is a very short window of opportunity between when the rats show up and when it gets blown up. If you want to see an example of a ghost site going wrong, actually, I'll just look it up real quick. You just search for Ashtarothi 4 cans. The name of the video is What Data Site Has 4 Evenly Spaced Cans? Oh, this is a sleeper cache here. I'm doing this like it's a normal data site, right? So I'm trying to get within warp range of all of the cans, 150 kilometers away from all of them. Obviously, this is a mistake. So I dink around with it for a little bit. At this point, I believe, yep, the timer has already started. Oh, no, a long time ago. So, yeah, the rats just showed up. They blow up. Yeah, so here we go. Let's look. At 1 minute and 1 second, the rats just showed up. And it blows up. So you have like 3 seconds. Oh, I love laughing at my own mistakes. Oh, it warped. It blew because I warped? Is that... Hold on, let's actually look at that. They appear. I warp. That fails the hack. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Okay, great. So that means you actually have more time. That's neat. All right. That's enough of that. I'm not going to bother finishing this sleeper cache. I don't even know if I can right now. I felt so stupid. Yeah, 5 more seconds. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they're about to attack me. I wonder if that's why I always thought they blow up the cans, because I like automatically attempt to run. No, I don't think so. It's failing a hack or if they shoot them, I believe. Yeah, of course, warping stops the hack. Look, okay, I never said I was a bright man. I said I was kind of clever, all right? Contract has been... Oh, is this... Yep, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we have a new top place, apparently. I just want to find one of the Caldari sites. So fly away and warp once it blows? Well, no, you want to preferably not have it blow. So there's kind of 2 strategies. One, you hack like two cans or so, like I was basically doing. I'm so glad I didn't do that wrong, because I almost did that wrong, right? Because I was right there. I almost started the hack and then warped away with the Anathemon grid. I could have very well have just killed myself. Thanks for pointing that out for me. That's always a fun thing to kind of realize. It's like, oh shit, I just almost died. Yeah, if you tank your ship correctly, you can just face tank the explosion. And I think that the rats warp away shortly thereafter. Could I have also blown up the other ship? If the Anathema was at a can, maybe. I'm not sure how I would have, though. I don't know how I would have without getting myself blown up in the process. Like, you could bump him, but that's going to leave you next to the can and not him. I think I know what the problem is. It appears that there's a lot more people scanning today than before. There's already sister probes out. It's all right. We can spend the whole day not finding a site. That's cool. Can you shoot the cans and blow them up? Maybe. I mean, I've never been in a ghost site with another person like that before, so I didn't really have like a plan. I also like that's one of those things that is so suspicious that I didn't even want to see what was going on, right? Like, sure, under normal conditions, my Astero could eat an anathema, but knowing that is true, why did that anathema warp into a ghost site that I'm already running, right? Like that is sus as hell, isn't it? I didn't want to find out what he had planned, if anything. Now, one thing I do want to start doing is that you can run a lot of this stuff in like the new Navy frigates, the new exploration frigates. So like an Imicus Navy issue, fuck yeah! Why wouldn't you just like sit there and like hold the line and kill them? They were expensive until like 2 days ago. Null is full of people today too. Oh my god, we're at 25,600 players. Nice. Not bad for a Thursday. Man, I wonder what our numbers are going to look like this weekend. I'm so fucking happy that this expansion worked out. Like, anybody who like cared about it, like, has been just painfully nervous, including CCP, right? Like, this was it. This was make it or break it. This is will EVE Online make it to a third decade? And pretty solid performance. All right, so now we're going to do something that I find incredibly fun. All right, so we're going to do right now. I am in Ikosukio, whatever. I'm in some Caldari system, right? That is one jump away from Samanuni. Samanuni is Caldari HiSec. It's also an Edencom fortress. However, it is also next to Othanun. So basically, I'm over here, and I want to be over here. So I'm going to take this jump so that way I can cross through all of this area and get to this little pocket. But I'm going to go through this one system of HiSec. This causes me two problems. One, Edencom hates me. So if there happens to be a fleet or towers or anything like that, they are absolutely able to engage me and will try to destroy me. But the other problem is I'm now in faction warfare, and the Caldari also hate me, which means the Navy police is going to show up automatically anytime I'm anywhere for more than a couple of seconds, and I can't cloak. So, all that said, let's see if we make it. Imicus Navy is fun. You got 250 DPS. Oh. I made up a quick Catalyst Navy the other day that has over 500 DPS. Over 500 DPS with a 10 MN micro warp or afterburner, a web, and a scram. So it goes 1500 cold as a destroyer. Hey, look, there's that same anathema. He's following me. Are you following me? Are you in the stream? He totally is following me, or at least we're going the same place. All right. So now they're mad at me. They want it. They want everything. Wants me dead. I gotta go. Can't cloak. Can't cloak. At least the Navy didn't show up this time. This is why I'm probably not going to use my Legion to get through this area. Because if I jump through there and there's a little gate camp of Edencom, that could be the end of that Legion. No, like, that anathema has been trailing me. Click all the buttons. All right. Welcome to Othanoon. You'll notice that it's a little bit different than the last time we saw it. There's a few new Titans and other super capitals and such. And if we go to Planet 5, this is some brave Serpentis ships. No shit. Polarized Navy Catalyst is 1500 hot. That's a lot of damage. I should have used my Tenchu bookmark. Oh well. First and foremost, what is this? Oh, that's the Poco. Wait, where's the Tenchu? Wait, hold on. Seriously, where is the... Oh, wait. There it is. Is that it? Yeah. State-occupied research station. So this is what the Tenchu looks like now. So anybody who thought that the Triglavian story is done, or this event is done now that the gates are finished, I suspect you might be wrong. Are they destroyable? These guys are not. However, when I was here yesterday, there was at least like 2 or 3 major fleets on grid of like actual like entities. Although I found that so far both the Gallente and the Caldari rats are white to me. I actually accidentally decloaked myself for quite some time yesterday, and yet didn't get killed by them, which was kind of them, I guess. Yeah, no, the empires aren't fucking around anymore, guys. What actions need time, by the way, for multi-boxing? Not even combat fleet? Well, I mean, like I've said this before, that one of the biggest problems with multi-boxing in EVE is the fact that the APM required to be basically efficient is so low. It requires, like, depending on the activity, you could have like 0.5 ADM. You know, like the number of times that you have to interact with each client in order to make them like work is relatively small compared to a lot of other video games. You know, like multi-boxing WoW characters is significantly different because you're always clicking another button. But if all you do is hit approach and have everybody shoot the same thing or whatever, well, that's really short bursts of the same action being done on a bunch of accounts, but then you get to just wait until they're done killing things. Yeah, I mean, I've said that before. Like, before multi-boxing became, like, explosively huge and basically standard norm during, like, post-accelerators and whatnot phase. Before then, I mean, like, the major people that did multi-boxing would be, like, miners and stuff. So, like, the idea is that you take an activity that doesn't have that much, like, individual demand per thing, but then you see how many plates you can keep spinning, right? You know, I remember listening to a podcast like back in 2013 about a guy who had an 8-man mining fleet where he had his, you know, his main hauler or orca or whatever, and then he had like a bunch of mining barges and kept them safe and everything like that. But yeah, like it's all about seeing how many plates you can keep spinning. What I don't like about multiboxing in Eve are the people that basically trivialize content by doing the multiboxing, right? Like, I've known people that, like, especially before, you know, they would just show up with 10 orcas to mine or whatever because it didn't matter that they were slightly less efficient than using mining barges. It allowed them to command them easier and, or like, go to a site that's solo, that's designed for solo, but then bring, 3 characters, 2 nesters and a dude or whatever. Like at that point, you're not multiboxing to challenge yourself. You're actually multiboxing to remove challenge from yourself. So that sucks. Also, what sucks is how few of these sites I'm finding this time. Serpentis are out in force today, man. You know why the Serpentis were sitting on that Samanuni Stargate? To just remind the Caldari that this is actually a Gallente system. I have a save location called Crimson Gauntlet. This is why I generally like let my bookmarks just not expire, because that way I just collect over time just a bunch of weird random saves. Yeah, those Serpentis are just the same. Yes, yes, yes. The Serpentis are just the same old rats that there ever was. But my joke was that, the fact that there are Serpentis rats instead of Garistus rats are indicative of it being a Gallente system, even if it's Caldari occupied. We don't find love here. How do I... No? Ah, there we go. I think that worked. Getting used to all the new systems. Also, I should probably figure out a way... since I have several people in here that were mods on Twitch, please DM me on Discord. Not right now, or not. I'm not going to get you it right this second, obviously, but DM me your Gmail account, or not Gmail, your YouTube account that you want it to be, and I'll add you to as a moderator here. There's a lot of I think that patriotic criminals are probably a pretty common thing because patriotism functions as a really good cover for criminal activity, right? Not saying all are criminal, but if you're a criminal, that's the kind of thing you'd use. Yeah, exactly. You want a thing that makes it so that like you can justify doing whatever it is that you want to do, right? Religion, politics, these kinds of, these hardline issues are what they use to basically silence the questions. Again, it's not that politics or religion are bad per se, but bad people use them. I do has anybody checked out like low sec mining to see if the mining fleets nerfing has had a serious change or impact? Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're running a Crimson Harvest event with, 5 characters, you're not doing that to challenge yourself with running 5 characters. You're doing that because with your 5 characters, you are significantly more powerful. It makes you safer, and you actually have to do less per character, right? In fact, most of those people will end up using drones or whatever to make it so they can even get the most out of it. There's Or Fleet. Holy shit. So the next system that I'm going through is going to be a command outpost. So I'm just going to skip over it. Are 5 people different than 5 multiboxing? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. And the reason why is it goes back to what I said the other day. All of this is just an excuse to hang out with friends. So there is a gigantic difference between 5 people crushing sites together and having a good time of it and one person playing with themselves, right? At the expense of all of the other people trying to do the content. And the other thing to think about it, like the way I like to think about it is there's this game called Overcooked, right? In Overcooked, you have to like cook different stuff and prepare the plates as they're asked and then turn them in and then wash the plates, right? And they're usually pretty simple, the bun, the burger, you cook the burger. They might want tomatoes and lettuce. You put the stuff on it, you put it in, right? Real simple. However, the maps are made such that there's obstacles in the way and you play it with multiplayer. Sure, you could theoretically play it by yourself, but Lord, would that be boring. Like the game is the fun of the game is from coordinating with other people, right? It's just like the Abyss, right? Yes, you can absolutely triple box the Abyss and get through it pretty simple. But you're going to have more fun, more engagement, and more importantly, learn to work better as a team if you do it with other people. So I encourage people to attempt to do things with other players. In fact, even solo activities, right? We do mission fleets where 8 people show up. 4 of them are marauders. We're running missions with 4 marauders. You think those missions last very long? No, they fucking don't. Like, we just crush them. Are we making as much money as those marauders would be able to make if they were just running it by themselves? Absolutely not. Why are we doing it? So we can hang out with each other. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. The fun comes from the interaction with other people, not from the actual thing itself. That's why everybody says that everything's boring in Eve, right? Because, like, if you do it all yourself with the most efficient way possible that eliminates all of the as many variables as you want, of course it's boring. That was your goal when you got the perfect fit and the perfect setup and eliminated all of your things. You wanted to make it boring. And then you complained when it was. Right. And in fact, to the point where, and I want to talk about this more when we get to the site itself, but I guess I'll explain just in case some of the mechanics of the site now, and I'll just re-explain it when we get there. But in the site, there is 5 cans. Any of the 5 cans could have the cool thing, or none of the 5 cans could have the cool thing, or multiple cans could have cool things, right? So you can go in there, and you have all the time in the world, asterisk, and you have you can fail the hacks as many times as you want, right? So it's pretty much not any danger. Also, the sites are completely useless to people that aren't your allies. So the chances of somebody coming and disrupting it is lessened by that. So they're pretty chill. However, the way it works is once you've hacked the first can, within about 20-30 seconds, a wave of rats show up. And presumably they keep showing up as you hack the cans and such. So the technique is you go in, you scan all the cans, you find out which one you want to hack, you hack it, and then you skedaddle. What that means is I want to start running exploration fleets, where all of us grab our little exploration ships and we're all flying around together. And we're hunting for sites, spreading out, looking for stuff. When we find one, we collapse in on it. And the key is that basically we look at the cans, figure out which cans are the ones that we want to hack. Everybody gets a can. We get through it. Everybody hacks until we get to the core. Everybody announces that they've made it to the core. Then on 3, finish the core. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. Get the loot, scatter. I want Ocean 11 fucking breakouts, right? Where like you and your buddies are like going in and synchronizing your goddamn watches so you can all hack the cans at the same fucking time. Yeah, the battleships can, or I've never seen less than 1 battleship and a support fleet show up. Look, man, I'm not even going to bother with the Serpentis normal site right now. Now, the good thing is that this actually happened yesterday too, where when I was running through and scanning everything, I ignored a lot of the other sites because I was looking for the specific ones. But then once I cleared out this whole area, I went back through it again and I saw, oh, look, there's still that data site up. And so I went and ran it, right? That's actually how I ended up running that, at least one of the coverts. Yes, they spawn in rear systems. Now, one thing that is worth noting, and maybe somebody will have more of an answer, but we, as in Spoons and I, have not found a single splicer yet. So I've gotten 6 propaganda or listening posts worth of doodads so far, but no propaganda towers. Which, of course, right now, the propaganda towers are paramount, right? Because nobody has advantage right now. Everybody wants to build advantage, not destroy it. So, but at the same time, people do have propaganda towers. So people are finding the splices. So if there's a reason why we're not finding it, then I'm not aware of it yet. Yes, the towers are on the LP store, but it requires the doodads. What content is worth doing if you're not in non-faction warfare? If you're not in a non-faction warfare corp, I'm assuming that you mean if you're not in a faction warfare. Yeah, okay. I mean, in LowSec, I mean, there's all this stuff for normal LowSec, right? But at that point, you're hunting the people that are in faction warfare, right? You can still enter into the Plex to kill people. You could stake out. You know that there are explorers that are going into these sites. You know that they're going to take their time inside of the site. So if you wanted to, be there for them, you could do that. I've also heard, I don't have confirmation, but I heard that people outside of faction warfare could theoretically do the rendezvous points. Because, I mean, like, it's just killing the rats, right? but I don't know that one for sure. There's a lot that we don't know yet. For the data sites, if you want to sell them, they're going to be worth a decent. Yes, but you can't do the faction warfare data sites unless you're in faction warfare. You can do the ghost sites, you can do the sleeper sites, obviously, all that normal stuff. But I also just strongly recommend, am I sure? Not 1,000%. However, when they put in these new cans, they also put, oh, there's a new signature. Damn it. When they put in these new cans, they added in a new attribute that says can only be, hold on, let me go pull it up. Why does Ash feel the way he does? Let's find it. So here we see that there's a brand new attribute that was added, 5206, which is only allows faction warfare attackers. And the description says, Boolean value that defaults to true. If true, will only allow players to hack if they belong to the faction that is the enemy of the occupier of the star system. So that is what I'm basing my knowledge off of. So if it's not true, somebody's just going to debunk me. But so far, nobody has. So that's why I think that. I knew you were following me, Shades. You stream sniper. Oh, man. That makes it extremely suspicious for me to go hack he tells me here. He says to me, "Oh yeah, this signature is the signature you're looking for." And then he tells me that he was trying to kill me at the ghost site. So now we could find a Caldari site that we want to run, but I mean, he isn't an anathema. No, he's actually out of system now, so we're fine. It just seems a little suspicious when the guy who just said that he was trying to kill you rolls out the red carpet for you about where the site is. Yeah, you tried to hack it as a neutral and it gave you an error message. Excellent. Exactly. I also heard about somebody who ran into a neutral in the site and killed him while they were hacking. But I think that the person just got confused and didn't know what was going on, and that's what distracted them long enough for the for our guy to catch him. No good cans, but you can check. You know what? You guys, that's fine. It's fine that there's no good cans because it's still going to allow us to demonstrate, okay? This is for demonstration purposes, not just for ISK value. All right. And we have found a Caldari Operations Center. It is a data site. They can only be found in rearguards. And they are a level 3, data site. When you land on grid, you will be on one side of a station, and there are 5 cans. One directly above, one directly below, and one in the other 4 points around the station. So the problem is that once you can take as much time as you want before you hack the first can. And the hacks themselves, like, you can't fail to hack and blow up the can, right? So in general, it's really cake. But once you hack your first can, the rats will be on their way pretty much before you can hack the second can. So what you want to do is what I'm doing here, where I go around the whole circle and I scan all the things. And I'm looking for splices and decryptors. Now, because of spoilers, I already know that we're not going to find one here, and not every site has them, but we're just showing it off, right? So, like, this one has 11 of the telemetries. The telemetries are worth 100,000 each, so that 11 is like basically just over $1 million. So these sites are not overly lucrative outside of the doodad, but of course, you know, the doodads are the reason why we're here. So. All right, we'll just hack this one down here. Let me pull in my probes. Okay, good. Those were my probes. Now, when I'm hacking, these are relatively hard hacks, but if you fail them, you just have to start again. So these are basically just trying to keep up your if you have low hacking skills and you just keep hacking at it, you'll get it eventually. But it'll consume your time for every hack that fails, obviously. So now that I've finished this hack, I loot this, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to cloak up. So now I'm cloaked in this site. I finished the hack about 5 or 6 seconds ago. How much do you think that the I honestly I can't tell you how much these things are going to be worth yet, because we don't know the drop rate yet. We don't know how many of these are going to be used. I think that they're going to be, I mean, they're essential to faction warfare. So until we have a good supply of them, they're going to be worth pretty much as much as you want. So, oh man, and here I got, oh, no, never mind. So we have 2 state cruisers, a battle cruiser, a destroyer, and a frigate. Now, this is actually the lightest response that I've seen so far. Most of the time I see like a battleship or whatever. So I'm not sure exactly what it would take to fight these guys. Probably not terrible amount. But the only reason why you would do that is if you want to keep hacking the cans. Which, as you saw, I didn't even have one can that I wanted. It's extremely rare for there to be more than one can that you want to hack. So this is why I was suggesting that, like, or not extremely rare, but like, what you could do is you can have multiple people hacking different cans at the same time and then all skedaddle before the bad guys show up. But basically, the way it works is that you get one can for free, right? So you go in, you figure out which of the 5 cans that you want to hack, you decide which one, you hack it, and then you get out. Now, the site itself will remain open for, I think it's 30 minutes, I want to say. I can't remember. But then the site detonates and is over, right? So one of the things I end up doing is I'll accidentally see it again, like as I'm coming through. It won't have despawned yet. So then I'll warp to it, and it'll be full of angry things because I've already triggered it. But yeah, so these doodads are, you know, this is a very simple process. You just go through the rear guard of the enemy factions, and you look for these operational center level 3 data sites, go in, scan the cans, figure out which one you want to hack it, and get out. And that's it. That is an amazingly effective and essential way to contribute to your empire in faction warfare as of now. And then as you're doing it, you're also going to be roaming around and finding other data sites like sleeper caches and covert sites. So even if the doodads themselves don't make you a bunch of money right now, or maybe they will, those other sites are definitely going to be paydays. It's also worth noting that since these cans can only be hacked by your faction, like only the Gallente faction warfare people can hack Caldari cans. They can't be hacked by neutrals or by, obviously can't be hacked by state people. I just realized I didn't scan all the sites. Shit, gotta work. Almost did it again. You almost saw me do something super fucking dumb. The number of times I have been on a grid with Edencom Gunstars with my thumb up my ass, I can't even count. I could probably go through my kill board and count. The answer's too many. Too damn many. I actually do not know if Minmatar can hack Caldari ones. I would assume yes, because it's still the opposing faction. But I'm not 100% sure on that one. What happened? This is an Edencom system. So I was on grid with Gunstars. So if I had been on grid for more than probably another 2 to 3 seconds, my Astera would have been no longer in existence. Followed probably by my pod pretty shortly thereafter. In fact, that would have happened. That happened during the event because I was patrolling through HiSec, and I didn't realize that the end point of my patrol was an Edencom system. So I jumped through and then just hit jump to the next site or system automatically because I had my autopilot, or my route set. And so my ship just started slow boating to the gate. And after about 5 seconds, kind of like you saw right there, I noticed, I was like, wait a minute, this is taking too long. And I look up and I see that there's Gunstars, and I'm like, oh shit. But that time, when I went to go warp, I got to about here before I died. I don't think you can hack Caldari ones as Minmatar because they use the same triggers as the rats do. I don't know what you mean by the same triggers. If there's ever an instance where Santra incursions met with an electrical metaliminal storms, therefore no cloaking. I do find it amazingly suspicious that directly after the bowl cut butcher's attack, so they cut off this area, right? This constellation got taken, but immediately this constellation, which is the basically the route between Intaki and Valor, became invaded by Sancha. So the state is working with Sancha's nation. That's my claim. That's all I'm saying. If you want to be part of the fascists that work with the hive mind slave race, by all means, go ahead and join the Caldari. But if you want to fight for freedom, Joinator on robotics. Agard is like people. I've known that Agard was dangerous from the very beginning, and I will say this, and I think I mentioned this in the last stream too, and so therefore it's probably in the VOD or whatever. But it was absolutely no surprise to me that the target was Intaki. To the point that when Spoons and I were looking at the Stargate in Othanoon when it was, or not in Othanoon, but in Amy, as it was in its early building phase, we were looking at it and we were absolutely convinced that it was pointing to Intaki, not to Othanoon. Mostly because Intaki is just so much more important to the Gallente. That, you know, we had already started to, we were like, oh wait, is the Gallente going to pretend to be going after Othanoon and then like strike it Intaki really quick? That'd be really fucking cool. But then they were like, oh yeah, no, the Stargate goes to Othanoon, and we're like, oh okay. And then they actually struck it Intaki because that was their goal. And I was like, ah. So yeah, it's always been super weird to have Intaki be in the war zone too. Although it's led to some pretty awesome plots, right? Arguably, most of the plot that we are on right now is derived from the fact that in 2018 the Caldari took Intaki. It was a Riku. Look, man. Yeah, no, Caldari, the PKN is definitely working with Sancho. No, I don't know. Definitely is a strong word, but I'm in my Galmil phase right now. Okay, take that for what it's worth. I'm gonna hit an ad. I think. Yeah, no, I just did. Good. I need to move this. So one of the things I don't like about what I've done with the overview is I wanted to put the information that was necessary up front, but with size being here and it being this number and distance being there, I keep accidentally thinking that the size is the distance. So I want to change that. I'm going to move the size from this column. Let me pause or close chat real quick, just so you can see what I'm talking about really clear. So I have this column, which is the size of the ship or the thing, and then this column, which is the distance. But they look very similar just from a glance, and so I keep seeing the size column and thinking it's the distance column because I'm used to the leftmost number being the distance column. So I'm going to fix that. The way I do that is I'm going to click on the More tab up here and then go to Open Overview Settings. There's a shortcut for it, but I don't know what it is. Then you go to the Columns tab, and here you can select what columns that you want to have on your overview. All right. However, some people don't know this. You can actually drag and drop the boxes, and it reorders them in your overview. So I just moved size from above distance to below angular velocity, and it moved it from the third column, or fourth column technically, to this far column. And I think that's a lot better. In fact, I could even go and move distance there. So now it goes icon, distance, thing, other combat information, and then name. I like that. After watching Andor episode 10 while randomly recruiting people in the system in Plex when fight, recruiting right now is really easy. If you're interested in joining all of this and getting some help, the Convocation of Empyreans would love to have you. We are here to maximize player engagement with EVE Online, and our branch, Aderon Robotics, is defending the southern war zone for the Federation, which our job has just gotten a lot easier. But still, Aderon Robotics, we are newbie-focused and learning-focused. So, we have the ships, equipment, and education that you need to get the most out of this stuff. So, consider checking us out. Okay, we're done here. Why size on the overview? I'm experimenting with it. It's so that I can, in case that piece of information ends up being useful to me. Missile calculations, even turret hitting calculations. I was setting everything back up on my overviews and stuff, and I was like, I could sometimes use the size data. And then also I recommend for streamers, if you notice, I dragged my name all the way to the bottom because the Stargate just says Stargate. A lot of people go through a ton of effort to see the Operations Center is still there. So if I didn't know any better, I might warp to it and be like, oh, there's things trying to kill me now. But I recommend to streamers to consider moving the name to the right-hand column, because the issue is that a lot of streamers are tempted to do OPSEC, right? But the problem with OPSEC is, in my opinion, is that the more OPSEC you have, and I can't believe I'm actually explaining this on stream, but whatever. We'll let the secrets out. Who cares? The more you demonstrate that you are trying to hide your location by covering things up. First of all, at a certain point, you start to actually diminish the quality of your stream, right? If you're covering up your whole overview and like half of the rest of your screen, then the people who are watching the game aren't even watching the game anymore. They can't. They're watching they're seeing a bunch of pictures and you talking, whatever. So I recommend against that. Even blurring things out. Here's the thing, okay? All it is making a temptation, right? I'm a pretty good guy. I've never gone around and ganked somebody. I've never stream sniped anybody. But every time I see somebody going through all of the effort to blur everything and all that stuff, the more I want to prove to them that they're an idiot by running a locator agent and getting them anyways, right? Like, worst case scenario, somebody can always locator agent you and kill you. So no OPSEC is going to actually be sufficient to protect you. So that's not your goal. Your goal is to make it so that the casual observer doesn't sort it out without any effort, right? So what I like to do is I do the bare minimum to secure certain things without having it impact my stream and without any suggestion that I'm doing it for OPSEC, right? So in this case, I move the name of things off the screen so that way they can't just look at my overview instantly to know what system I'm in. I can crush this as much as I want to make it so that it's harder or easier to figure it out for my own purposes. And I normally have my gutter, which honestly, the gutter is more to make it so that things are clean and more to make it so that in-game chat, I don't accidentally leak other people's in-game chat, because I find that a fairly rude thing to do. So as you can see here, with this setup, my system is covered up on the left-hand side, along with other information. However, if you notice, I leave a spot at the top to allow you to look at any timers I have, because my stream was originally set up to make it so that my goal was to make it so that people could watch the Abyss and have it be as pretty as possible, right? So you can still see the timers, so that way you can still see like how far into the Abyss I am or whatever. But all this stuff down here, which is where, you know, my the system information, I put my saved locations there, and I put my, you know, any chat windows there. So I'm not like killing the entire screen. They see all of the operational information that it takes to understand the stream that you're playing, but I don't make it in their face where I am. And at the same time, I don't look like I'm trying to hide from anybody, you know? So there you go. Little advice for people trying to stream EVE Online. OPSEC is good, but you want to maximize your OPSEC without it impacting your stream in an important way. And I also encourage streamers to really embrace the idea that content is content, right? Like, you're not streaming to make money. You're not streaming to make in-game money. You're not streaming to make to finish missions. You're not streaming to make a bunch of to mine a bunch of ore. All of those things that you're doing are merely the background, the context by which your stream is happening, right? So if you're just running missions and people, you know, that's cool. That's a thing to do. People are watching that. That's content. But then if somebody comes and ganks you or tries to gank you or tries to mess with you, that's still content. Like, I strongly recommend streamers, like, I'm not saying that it's fine to stream snipe, but I'm saying that from the streamer's point of view, you are best served by taking negative events and turning them into your content. Okay? It's significantly better than throwing a giant conniption fit, which gives the people who just did that bad thing to you exactly what they want. So there you go. That's my pro tip. Yeah, record offline for OPSEC sensitive stuff. And ironically enough, I know that people are watching my stream. I know that my stream brings attention to certain things, right? So I have, on more than one occasion, again, I can say this now because I'm not doing it right now, I have on more than one occasion streamed something somewhere with the explicit reasoning of drawing attention from somewhere else, right? We have an important operation going on, a structure anchoring, an attack happening, something that we want people to not pay attention to. I'll just go run a normal stream somewhere else and never mention it the entire time. By the way, they totally redid the plexes. These things look so cool. Let me show you the inside, I think. Yeah, let me show you the inside. Actually, let me double check. Yeah, we'll be fine. Can't activate. Oh, this is a novice. Or scout, whatever. Or is it a navy? Is that why? This is it backfiring. Caldari medium, navy 1. There it is. Hey, Raven. So I couldn't get in there, even though it's a medium, because I'm in a pirate faction ship, the Astero. And that's the thing. Because of that, what that means is that a lot of people in faction warfare are no longer flying T2. Because why would you, right? You can fly your Navy ships in advanced sites, but you can't fly your advanced ships in Navy sites. So, and it doesn't matter what size it is. It used to be like if you're, you know, I could fly the T2 in a small, right? But now, if the small is a Navy, I can't. So this encourages faction warfare players to utilize Navy equipment, which is pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet because it's also the reward you get for faction warfare. So now there's this really, really logical progression where you get a cheap ship, you go run a couple of plexes in like a front line, and then you already have enough LP to either convert that ship or buy a BPC and build some Navy ships, and now you're working up the tiers, right? And you're turning your reward into something that you yourself can use, which is really nice. Yeah, Navy destroyers are awesome. Yeah, pirate ships no longer being counted under Navy, I think is a that was one of those things that I was kind of sketch on, but I'm a believer. I'm going to take this opportunity to say if you are enjoying the stream, please consider liking it and even potentially joining as a member. If you haven't yet, you can always subscribe to get all of my videos as they come out. So one of the things, okay, when I was on Twitch has a thing where I had to wait 24 hours for a VOD to take something that I streamed on Twitch and put it on YouTube. So that's why often my videos would be slightly less than timely, because I would make the stream the day it was important, and then I couldn't come out with the VOD until the next day. So now, same day, doesn't matter. That's great. However, in the old system, I would just like chop it up and send them over to YouTube, and then that's the videos that I got. Now I have the entire archive on YouTube automatically because that's where I recorded it. But here's the problem with that. Archived video, like entire unedited streams, aren't really the greatest thing to publish when it comes to the algorithms. Sure, they last a long time, so you can get a lot of minutes, you know, that 3-hour video. If they watch that 3-hour video, that's pretty damn good. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't, right? Those videos generally do poorer. And more importantly, if I'm going to be cutting out highlights and segments to come out, if I'm putting out the VOD, if I put out the VOD as a published thing, then and then come out with the clips, then that's kind of like what happens if somebody watched the VOD and then now they don't want to watch the things that actually are the more polished videos because they're repeats effectively. That's not great. Because I need those published videos to do as well as possible. So my thought was, and I've done this before, like I would take my VOD, the full stream, I'd set it as unlisted, and I'd publish it for my patrons. Speaking of which, you can also join my Patreon. That's one of the best ways to support me, and I really, really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I'm going to read their names later. But so that was my idea is that the people that pay, the people that support, the people that choose to become members and patrons and all that stuff, these are also probably the people that are interested in things like the full VOD as opposed to the cut down thing. Because like every time I come out with a long video, people are complaining that it's not short. And every time I'm coming out with a short video, people are complaining that it's not long. Okay, great. Well, what do I do? My thought was, okay, well, we'll just make this into the parallel, right? We had subscribers before. Now we're going to have members. I have the capability of publishing things as members only. So what I'll do is at the end of the VOD, when the stream is over, I'll just set it to members only. So then the full stream is available for members. It shows up on the members feed. So like if you're a member, you can see the members only videos that come up. and it doesn't necessarily clutter up things for the people that aren't members, and it functions as a kind of a nice reward for people that care, right? Like the people that want to watch the entire VOD rather than wait a couple hours to a couple days to see the actual segments out of the VOD instead of the bullshit in between. You know, those are probably the people that are going to want that video, as I was thinking. That said, there's a lot of people that want to watch the VODs. There's a lot of people that want to watch the same videos, or they want to see the whole stream, right? Especially people that maybe don't make it to the mainstream. And the other problem is that, I guess not problem, but the other feature of all of this. Oh, hey, look, there's a Caldari rendezvous point, which means I'm in a command operation. It's not in a back. I'm also not cloaked. What the fuck am I doing? How did I not die? Well, clearly I'm not being stream sniped now. So, why did the Navy Cormorant get a shield boost bonus? Because the Navy ships are designed to fight in plexes and in that kind of environment. So, given the fact that the Cormorant is more of a snipey boat, this was designed this was turning the Cormorant into more of a brawly setup. All right, so the other piece to this, so this is the rendezvous point. Once you kill these dudes, another wave will come in, and I think it's either the second wave or the third wave will come in with the battleship, the commander. And the commander hits pretty hard. You can out-track them and whatnot. It's soloable from my understanding, it's soloable in a really good cruiser or whatever. But I haven't really spent that much time. I'm going to make my goal is actually today I'm going to learn more about the rendezvous points tonight. And then tomorrow we might look at rendezvous points, if not next week. But as you can see, there is both hey, look, never mind. We're going to watch it happen. It would appear. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Oh, yep, he's attacking. Cool. Perfect timing. Are you showing? Is this an actual person that's showing off or whatever? The Navy Thrasher is a kite boat? I forget what happened to the Navy Thrasher. Oh, no. The Navy Thrasher is a baby assault frigate because it has that signature radius bonus. So I guess kiting is a way to think about it. That is a way to do it. But that signature radius bonus allows it to, scram kite or whatever too. Like it basically doesn't have a signature bloom from Micro Warp Drive. Well, this pretty much settles the fact that T3 cruisers can do it, right? Actually, let's go ahead and go like this. Put my camera there, and then we can go there. So now we can watch it play out. I understand that the reason why I said a baby assault frigate is because it doesn't get the ADCU, right? Which is the ADCU is the thing that people think about when they think about assault frigates. So that's why I phrased it that way. Is he attacking still? Oh yeah, he is. Let's see if we can get something cool. Oh, that's right. As soon as it dies, it snaps the camera. Darn it. Boom. You disapprove of what? Well, I mean, as an interceptor, I wouldn't necessarily say it's an interceptor per se, as much as it's designed to fight with a microwarp drive, right? Think about it this way. Minmatar's definition is that they're fast. So the fact that they have a destroyer that's going to be using a microwarp drive without increasing its signature radius, so it's just going to be going faster without much penalty, is pretty noteworthy. Wait, the Tengu just left. Why did the Tengu leave? Don't go. You're not done. Who was the Tengu? It was this guy. No, not message. So many people don't know what's going on anymore. He says I'm cloaked, and I go, well, you're being watched by 70 people. Oh, well, hi. Oh no, he saw my probes. Never mind. Speaking of which, so this is wave 2, which doesn't have the main battleship. Why would I kite with a Thrasher when a Talwar does it better? Again, so you got to remember that the Navy equipment is specifically designed to help fight in a faction warfare context. The fact that it also works in other contexts is fine, but in essence, the Navy ships are by and large designed to be effective in complexes. And that changes what priorities they have. And you can see that in the design of the destroyers. The other thing is that if you notice, one of the things that they've been doing more and more recently is letting Navy ships kind of put a twist on the concepts, right? Like, yes, destroyers are a certain thing. But you know what? Exploration frigates, T1 exploration frigates, are defenseless, right? They're shitty at combat. We just know that. That's a truism. But wait, Navy exploration frigates aren't. There it is. So, State Officer Battleship. NBCs do 50% EM, 50% explosive, at least the state ones do, which is kind of confusing, but whatever. I've seen that a lot. Pretty standard threat profile, right? So you're going to want to shoot EM damage if you can. And also, it's just like an event. Once the battleship is killed, I think that ends the site, and all of the other, if there are other rats on field, they leave. You're on the negative opinion? I mean, I understand. I think that the point is that, like, if they had just made it better, then it would have been kind of boring. Like, I like the fact that they play with this sort of ideas. Like, for instance, the difference between a Mollis Navy issue and a Mollis, right? Oh. Hey, I got a little thing that said that we did cool. And it also said that I don't get anything for it because I'm cloaked. Although you were present at the capture of the enemy site in Anschutz, the following circumstances prevent you from qualifying. You were cloaked. I'm asking him for the fit, but I'm warning him that I'll be putting it on stream if he gives it to me. The Prophecy and the Armageddon being drone boats? Well, that's just correct. That's correct. No, it's not just the Gallente. The Amarr love drones, especially Khanid. So the way it works is this. Gallente, in general, have stronger drones and bigger bandwidths, where the Amarr have bigger drone bays. So therefore, a Gallente will have stronger drones, but an Amarr will have multiple flights of drones. Does that make sense? And that's their priorities. So you have, the Dragoon. You have technically the Tormentor, but the Dragoon, the Arbitrator, the Prophecy, and the Apocalypse, right? Armageddon. Now, what is the thing that's the same about all of those different ships? Dragoon, Arbitrator, Prophecy, Armageddon. Now, most of them are actually missiles, which is fine. But the thing that has them all in common is that all of those are Newt boats, right? They all focus on energy neutralizers. So if you're going to be focusing on energy neutralizers, then you have no weapons in your high slots. Do you see where this goes? Do you see why those ships are drone boats? Also, remember that Khanid in particular, but even the entire Amarr have a bunch of their missile systems and stuff through their relationships with Caldari. So the Amarr, I understand that like the Gallente are the drone things, but like I want to say it was about 2017 or so, 2018. Whenever the big balance pass that made the Armageddon, the normal Armageddon into a full-on Newt boat, was really when CCP doubled down on the fact that Amarr lean on drones. But it is weird that like the Amarr are the only race that uses both secondary weapon systems, right? Like they use missiles and drones, whereas the Caldari and the Minmatar focus on missiles as their secondary weapon system, and the Gallente have drones as their secondary weapon system. Saying that the shield boosting thing is for Minmatar, I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but really what that boils down to is the fact that the Gallente and the Minmatar are designed for skirmish, solo, and small game play, where each individual component, each individual pilot brings a complete package to the table. And so if you got 4 people and you kill one of them, you take out 1/4 of their strength, right? The Amarr and the Caldari are much more fleet focused. Their ships, their designs, everything is designed for them to work together, right? So that way, if you have 4 of them and you kill one of them, you could actually cripple the entire fleet, or the entire set of 4, depending on which one you killed, right? If they're 2 Guardians or Augurers and then 2 other ships, and you kill one of the Augurers, the other one's going to cap out because they require each other to stay stable. Likewise, generally speaking, the Caldari and the Amarr focus on resistance and buffer to keep themselves alive, whereas the Minmatar and the Gallente work on reps. But this isn't universally true. There are Gallente ships with resistance bonuses, and there are some of the other side with rep bonuses. In this case, the Coercer Navy issue is specialized enough that, or not Coercer, Cormorant Navy issue, that the specific needs of that circumstances makes it so that the Caldari want to add that flexibility to their repertoire, right? And therefore, the Cormorant Navy functions that way, because you can't expect that those ships to be as fleet centric as a lot of the other Caldari ships, right? So I get that it stands out as odd, but another argument is the Caldari steal things from Minmatar all the fucking time. Case in point, the Golem and the Phoenix have target painter bonuses. End of discussion. All right, let's look at this fit. Oh, yeah, sure. One more thing. Consistency. Right. Well, yeah. And it's more, I wouldn't, consistency is a good way of thinking about it, but it's more like, maybe consistency is the right word. But I'm thinking like, it's consistent because of the rules, right? It has a common philosophy, right? Each race has a common philosophy, and that's what provides the consistency, right? But yeah, it is weird. You could have swapped the two. You could have given the Thrasher the shield bonus and the Caldari the micro warp drive bonus, so that way the Caldari with its already larger sig doesn't bloom it huge. But the Minmatar's shield boosting isn't a Minmatar thing. Like, they tend towards that, but like when you think about it, the Minmatar are speed. That's their defining feature. So the fact that the Thrasher is focused on being able to use a micro warp drive without blooming its signature makes sense. So it kind of leaves a spot where it's like, well, what would the Cormorant be otherwise? You already have the Extreme Sniper in the normal Cormorant. You need something that's going to be able to fight in these plexes, in Navy destroyer plexes. So I think that you could maybe go with just like resistances and call it good, but that isn't how actual brawling works. So consistency is good, but effectiveness is better sometimes. As in viability, not just how well it works. Anywho, let's see here. Yeah, so it's a covert systems, accelerated ejection bay, which is missile damages, fuel catalyst, which is afterburner and micro warp drive, or afterburner velocity bonus. So he's an afterburner build because he's a sig tanking partially. And bonus to cap warfare resistance and capacitor capacity. I mean, having better capacitor is probably really good, but this one probably is just more for the 2 mid slots, 2 low slots than anything else, right? But in the mids, we have the capacitor safeguard and the EM shield recharger. So yeah, he is actually concerned with cap, right? Because he has this large shield booster. So he's got an oversized shield booster. And so to power it, he has a large cat battery, an oversized cat battery, and this safeguard reduces the amount of capacitor that the shields uses. So if I turn this off, look, now it depletes in 10 minutes. That's a pretty big difference, right? So, and then hyperspatial velocity optimizer. Clearly, he didn't need his third rig for like combat, so it's just like, hey, go fast, zoom, zoom. That's good. 2 ballistic control systems, compacted. Shield boost amplifier. So the shields are kind of interesting because like reps will have multiple reps, but shield boosters usually only have the one booster. So if you want to put a second mid slot into your boosting, you use a shield boost amplifier, which they did. You have a missile guidance computer. This is probably so the missile guidance computer and the accelerated ejection bay and the heavy missile launcher together make it so that he can hit out to 79 kilometers. So that's why he was so far away from the rest of the rats and was using that to keep him from being pinned down and taking too much damage, right? So basically nothing can hit him because they're too far away, and even if they could, he's got this really cool shield booster, right? Cool. Then he's got the target painter to make it so that he does more damage to the small things. He's got the multi-spectrum shield hardener, so he takes less damage. And that's about it. It's pretty cool. So he's just out there. He shoots at him. He cloaks up between waves, decloaks, keeps fighting, kills boss. Done. That's a pretty good setup. That's actually one of the things I love about Eve. This is one of the things that has always attracted me about Eve. It's just that it's the idea of like investigation, right? Can I look at a fit and actually figure out how it works just by what the fit is? Can I look at a kill mail and sort out what it is that caused this to happen? I just fail to see what logic Caldari and Amarr would have to allow deviation given their lore. Well, so with both the Caldari and the Amarr, like I said, they're designed to be functioning as a fleet, which means for the most part, their ships are only a piece of the puzzle, right? So there is actually pretty big deviation because each ship is designed to be a different component of an overall whole, right? That's why they call it, the Golden Fleet. Also, it's worth noting that the Amarr fleet is the oldest of the fleets. Their ships are the most antiquated, and as I mentioned, most of their newer stuff is simply because of their deals with Lydai. And most of that came from the fact that a lot of this deviation in Amarr ship design comes from the Khanid ship line, right? The arbitrator becomes the curse. The magnate becomes the anathema, And so in these cases, you'll notice that the missile boats, the missile T2 ships, are almost always black designs. The curse is black. The anathema is black. The damnation is black. What makes them black? Well, that's the colors of the Khanid Kingdom. The Khanid Kingdom are a branch of the Amarr that, I'm going to go 200 years ago, failed to become the emperor, and rather than committing ritual suicide like he was supposed to, decided to tell everybody to fuck right off and made his own kingdom. So the Khanid Kingdom has kind of been beside Amarr, but separate from Amarr for 200 years until Jamil Sorum and her death led to like the reunification of Khanid and and consequently Order of Saint Tetramon, which had been basically hiding out in Khanid Kingdom all that time. They were reintegrated into the Empire. But if you go to Khanid Kingdom still, you'll still see that it's marked Khanid Kingdom. They've maintained their independence. It's just they allowed Khanid to take part in the succession trial again. I suspect that a big part of that was just so that way they could force him to kill himself if he didn't win, which is what happened. So they wanted to make sure that this time he didn't get a choice. However, it's also worth noting that Khanid very, very likely cloned himself and is now pretending to be his own son. But that's another. I think that's a story for another day. But the short of it is that Khanid, separated from the main Amarian forces, worked with the Caldari and specifically Lydai to have their ships built. So all of the Khanid ships are focused around missiles. Likewise, the Empress of the Amarr now, Empress Katniss I, she is a business mogul that made her fortune by doing deals with the Caldari. So it tracks that as the Amarr modernize, they are adopting. The Caldari tech bleeds in a little bit more. Katniss, not cat is, but Katniss. Katniss Tashmerkon. Well, I found where all the action is. You know what? I'm going to probe this system just to see what I find, since it's a frontline. We know what we find in rear guards. We know what we find in command outposts. Let's just see if we find anything weird. Oh my. What's happening? Oh! Probably shouldn't have exposed that, but oh well. I didn't know. Something bad happened here. Oh. What's coming through? More state. What are they? Onyx? Oh, that's a fleet. Yeah. Faction warfare is a bit hot now, guys. This is just a normal time in a frontline system. Not every frontline system, obviously, but there they go. Where are they going? To a safe. Drat. No, those were players. All of those were players. There are no NPCs on grid right now. Most of this stuff is wrecks of players, but that giant fleet that just came through was players. That was Calmil. The reason why they're red and or blinky orange is that means that they're a war target. That means that they're Calmil. Yeah, Caldari Militia. Including Phantomite. Hey, look! Bastard. He should have joined Gallente. Blue Canary. It is true that the state is significantly stronger in EU, both than the Gallente usually, but also just they're just stronger in the EU than in the US. How's the other Warzone doing today? I have no idea, honestly. If any of the Galmil guys are here, do you know if they want the location of the rendezvous points? I bet you. Oh man. Oh. This is why I need combat probes instead of normal probes. So that way I could find that group. Because how much do you want to bet that group is dropping propaganda towers? Star Wars scene where civilians or a hiding person is watching as Imperial troops march by. Yeah, although I see it as like, was it the Dominion trailer? Where all the fleets are like getting ready to go and you're hearing the chatter and there's just this anathema in the foreground, cloaked, watching the fleet set up. That's the moment that always makes me go, ah. But, you know, I'm a scout, so that's what gets me going. Also, since I have you guys here, if you're thinking to yourself, man, should I get back into EVE? I've been out for a little while. The answer is not just yes, but fuck yes. Why? Because right now, oh, wow. Okay, so here's the other half of the equation. Okay. Can't wait to get involved in this stuff, too. Oh. Oh, no. I'm going to have to go through, aren't I? Oh, I got to. I'm going to have to. Are they fighting? Some has jumped through, though. They're aggressing. So because they're aggressing, some of them won't be able to jump through. So the non-aggressors... Oh, Gallente's aggressing. So as soon as one of the people aggresses, some of them jump through to try to get onto the other side. But then the Gallente guys didn't jump through and began engaging. So now if the Caldari on this side engage... Yeah, they don't know what to do. There's a few of them that have engaged, a few of them that have not engaged. He didn't engage. Right, so some of the state is... Now they're jumping. So any of the state people who pull the trigger would be stuck here and being killed. However, they also could have just let the Gallente attack and then jump through onto the other side, just like they did, making it so that all the Gallente are now locked out on this side, right? for a minute. And their forward guard that they jump through to the other side can easily crash gate and come back. So let's go ahead and see what's going on the other side. Am I on hardware encoder? I'm not sure. I mean, oh. Huh. Are they just like on the move? Yep, they deplexed here. They despiked here. And Gallente can't chase very quickly because they got locked on gate. Whew. This is super dangerous, guys. This is when you see me get murdered. Squid's running from a numerically inferior force? Never! Well, we don't know what these forces were meant to be doing. Flip what on after the stream? Well, this is dangerous. Are they going to try to kill me now? Or are they crashing gate? Nope, they're warping. This is why you hold cloak. Yeah, E-Hot. They went home. I should have dropped probes. Oh, hardware encoding. For which? I have, yeah, I think I'm 90% sure. If you're talking about like OBS, I should be. Is there a reason why you suspect I'm not? Oh, stutter? Is there stutter on my stream? Let me look. That isn't very common. I have lost 3 frames total in the 3 hours I've been streaming. Oh my god, I didn't realize how late it is. Holy shit, I should have gotten off stream a while ago. Oh man. Oh. Oh, are you talking about the AMD thing? I think you just underestimate loading that many things right at first. Oh. I'll triple check because, you know, I did change over to a new computer, so it's very possible. What are they doing? Well, just like the squids to not give us a good show. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start wrapping things up, maybe. Okay, so thank you guys for hanging out today. This has been a fun stream. I know we didn't get like as many sites as I would have liked done, but I hope that like everybody got to learn something either way. We did just enough to be able to learn different things. We got to check things out. It's been pretty fun. We'll be back tomorrow, knock on wood, with more stuff to check out. Probably, almost certainly in Faction Warfare. There is also, oh shoot, I need to do the new news item. There's a news item. There's a news item. We'll do the news item and then we'll take off. No, 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 no. So this goes back to what we were talking about yesterday or earlier. I should record. I'm probably going to record this and put it separately, but whatever. For now, I want to read this to you guys. Yeah, there's so many patch notes from the 8th. I actually, if you go look at my VOD from Tuesday, which is unlisted on my archives playlist, I go over all of it. And I think I should have a clip out where I put out this thing about the Othanoon stuff, or the actual, not the Othanoon stuff, but the assault. I'm pretty sure I also put out the thing where I broke down all of the patch notes and everything. So that should just be on the YouTube. What is the best faction? Well, I mean, that really depends on you. Like, there's reasons to be part of all teams. And that being said, Gallente. If you want to fly, no joke, if you want to fly with, like, the famous people, join the Gallente. I mean, in the last couple of months, we've had Satonia, Joe Bain, myself, shoot, I can't remember all the, Ithaca Hawk, you know, the Caldari provide a target-rich environment. So if you like killing people, Gallente's the place to go. If you want to feel really good about what you're doing, Mimitar's a good place to go. If you want to be a monster, the Amar's fine. And if you want to help the monsters, go for the state, I suppose. Yes, Noir Mercenary says join the Gallente. Croven? I do remember your name. I wouldn't be able to introduce somebody to you, but I can vouch for the fact that the name Croven echoes from the past. The Drone Bay podcast. Nice. Yes, that's one of the early ones. We got Eridanika here. I'm gonna call her out. Eridanika, as I said the other day, everybody give a big thanks to Eridanika, man. Like, first of all, she used to do Voices from the Void podcast, which is legitimately one of the biggest reasons why I got into podcasting. Second of all, she has done quite a bit in making sure that I'm pointed in the right direction and gives me just enough assistance to make sure that things go well. So, it kept the stream going from a managerial point of view, more or less, off and on for several months. Helped me with the CSM election stuff, for example. Redid my logo. So if you like the logo, the new logo, she redid that, which I really appreciate. And she set up the store that you could buy my logo on a mug on that store. All thanks to her. So, and I get to hang. I used to fanboy about Eridanika all the time. I remember when, I'm going to get really embarrassing probably for her, but I remember when Matterall first told me that he had contact with Eridanika, and I'm just like, oh my God, she's like the one person I'd really like to meet and talk to about Eve. So I feel quite blessed to have her as a friend. You try to become Eve favorite? It takes time. All right. Let's do an ad. Let me know when the ad is back, and then we'll do the recording, we'll do the shtick, and we'll get out. What was the Fight Club? It was Syndicate. It's back that fast? Wait a minute. You're telling me that YouTube doesn't give you guys 3 minutes of ads when I click it? I remember Syndicate Fight Club. Oh, people can hit skip. People could hit skip. I fucking love streaming on YouTube. Way more than Twitch. What can I say? Oh, yeah, and if you have premium, then no ads at all. Awesome. That's true. Breaking news. Caldari Navy seizes control of Othanoon Stargate sites. Othanoon Placid. Caldari Navy fleets. Wait. Let me start over. I thought I was being slick, but I wasn't. There's the logo. Breaking news. Caldari Navy seizes control of Othanoon strategic sites. Othanoon Placid. Caldari Navy fleets are reported to have arrived in force in the Othanoon system, seizing control of strategic sites such as the derelict Edencom Station, Gallente Stargate construction site, and reinforcing the state's military presence throughout the system. Reports indicate that the Caldari Navy have stopped short of seizing complete control and capturing the system militia infrastructure hub under a plan authorized by the Caldari Chief Executive Panel. Caldari forces are also reported to have arrived in such numbers so as to thoroughly sweep Othanoon and the surrounding Sirthud constellation clear of unsecured Triglavian relay sites. The swift deployment of Caldari fleet forces have foreclosed the possibility of the Gallente Federation completing its Stargate, while bringing it to a decisive close any further efforts to secure Triglavian data, or secure data on Triglavian technology present in Othanoon and surrounding systems. The move appears to be a limited response to the Federation's invasion of Intaki, treading the line that remains for the moment within the terms of Concord's Emergency Militia War Powers Act. CEP Chairman Akimaka Saraki has described the Federation Navy's massive invasion of Intaki and 2 constellations formerly in the Placid War Zone as outrageous. However, the Caldari State CEP appears to be following a cautious line aimed at projecting itself as the lawful party seeking to avoid escalation to full-scale war. Following yesterday's emergency meeting, the Chief Executive Panel, the CEOs of Hasiota, Kalikiota, and Nogahuvi megacorporations have all traveled to Ulai to represent the Caldari at the Concord Assembly in a unified front of the corporate fractions that dominate the state. Concord Inner Circle President Sari Okanaya has issued an executive communique deploring the, quote, unilateral and grave breach of Concord's Emergency Militia War Powers Act, end quote, by the Gallente Federation. All right. And that's your news for yesterday, November 9th, YC124. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. Let's do some shtick. I really appreciate it, and like you guys are cool. Hold on. Does this work? Let me try this. This is blind. Nope, didn't work. Wait. Hey! Hi. All right. This is how streamers close out their streams, right? After like 3 years, I'm gonna, or however many years I've been doing this, I'm gonna figure out how to do it right. There you go. Hi. You can see some of my background. Oh shit, you can see my Switch. It's right there. All right. Seriously, guys, thank you so much. As I said earlier, like, I'm not going to reiterate all the things, but like, this has been a pretty stressful week and a culmination of arguably years of waiting and putting predictions on the line and such. And And I'm really glad that things have worked out, both the switch to YouTube and the Uprising expansion. Congratulations to CCP on such an effective and amazing expansion. It's been widely praised. And what makes me the most excited about it is that this is clearly just the beginning. So, yeah, if you want to get involved with this sort of stuff, I would recommend you checking out the Convocation of Empyreans. We are here to maximize player engagement with EVE Online, and our Warzone group, Aderon Robotics, has been defending the Southern Warzone for the sake of the Federation for over 10 years now. So, good group of guys. We're learning focused, guys and gals, actually. And we'd be happy to have you. In addition to that, I would like to really thank my supporters. If you want to join my supporters, you can always go to my Patreon. The Patreon is best of all of the methods to give me money. Patreon is definitely the best way to do it. Links to the Community Corp. Yeah, the link just above, the Discord link, that's the page. But you can also go to our Notion. I'm a Notion, which is like a wiki. Hold on. Which one? Nope, none of these. All right, well, whatever. This is the lore Notion that I've been working on for a while. It's not perfect. It's definitely a work in progress, but I try to document the different threads, right? And so it's a pretty good place to check things out, but also there is the normal EVE Universe place. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you go here, this is the convocations section of the Notion, where you can get all kinds of useful information, both for convocation members and not. For instance, we have a page that has this Magic 14, and at the bottom we have it. You can take this list here at the bottom and copy it, and then it will it'll set your skill queue, right? So you can make a new alpha, millions free SP, plug this in, log it out, and log it in like 5 months later. We also have a bunch of infographics, including the traditional ones, but also a threat profile. This is working, right? Yeah. All the different damage types. We didn't make these, obviously. Credit to the people who did, but I just collected them all. But we also have the login booster cheat sheet. This is a breakdown of all the different Halcyon boosters and what they benefit. And I'm missing the big one. So if you go here to... Oh, I should definitely fix that. All right, well, in our members area, which is actually technically public, we have activities, and in the activities we have Abyss. So actually, now that I think about it, so this is the Abyssal cheat sheet that I made that tells you basically everything you could possibly need to know about the Abyss. I have a video that explains it all too. Yeah, in the description of the video, probably. Yeah, I should actually start just adding a lot of these things as the description of my videos, just full stop. But it also has, here is all of the different rats stats, just in case you want that. And then, oh, yeah, a bunch of recommended builds, and of course, Abyssal trackers and the Eve Universe webpage too. So I try to put like anytime I have resources, I try to collect it and put them into this area. So feel free to use that. If you see something missing or whatever, then let me know. Also, I have collected all of the information involving the Precursor Crisis in one place. So here's all the Triglavian data streams, all the Rasnaborger reports, the messages from Zoria Triglav, all of the messages from Seriatim Foucault, the different descriptions of the organizations, the items, the structures and buildings, the ships, and the various sites. So this is basically everything that has had anything to do with the Triglavians, the Drifters, or, well, really the Triglavians, but the whole Precursor Crisis, Triglavians, Drifters, etc. Yeah, so there's all that. Once again, I do all this stuff for you guys. If you like the fact that I do, please consider supporting it by either becoming a patron or a member on the YouTubes. Because not only does this take time, but I would like to remind people that the Notion takes money too. I have to have a premium account in order to have this much information in one Notion page. But either way, anything else? Anything else? Merch. Get the merch below. Plate. Oh, right. With everything happening, to make sure that you always get my notifications, regardless of where it is, following me on my Twitter's fine, but who knows? I insulted Elon Musk the other day, so I could be banned from Twitter already. Who knows? So just in case, what I strongly recommend you do is just go to the Convocation of Empyreans Discord, and when you're there, you don't have to actually join the convocation. You can just stay in the public areas, and there'll be a room for roles. You apply the YouTube role to you, and then anytime we go live, or I go live, or I put up a new video, I'll flag it with the YouTube tag. So then you'll get a ping. And that's honestly the best, most consistent way of getting the stuff. And then other YouTube creators also have been welcome to do that. I know my Twitter's still up. It was just a joke. I appreciate the insight though. And then also there's a way to there's a Twitch tag too to watch Twitch streamers, or for Twitch streamers that are going live. So yeah, I encourage you guys to come check it out, say hi, and like I said, we kind of just try to foster an area of learning. So feel free to just come and hang out with us, and ask questions and whatnot. And if you want to, you can always join, or not. Doesn't matter. We're here to support you in your Eve journey either way. All right. And I also have a video game that I made called Playton. It is free. The Convocation of Empyreans is neutral, although our branch is Gallente. So you could argue that we lean Gallente, but the Convocation of Empyreans, the Alliance, is more like our HiSec branch. Sorry, I just noticed that guy suddenly go criminal in the local, and I was trying to figure out how somebody could just randomly go criminal. But I think he jumped in with criminal. Either way. Yeah, go ahead and check out my itch.io. You can pick up the game Playton for free. Let me know what you think. Most people have given me very good feedback about it. If I get enough people bugging me about it, I might actually even go back and add some more features and whatnot. But either way, there you go. And of course, nothing could be done without my supporters. So I'd really like to thank my co-designers, Aradenika the Queen, Black Rose Noble, Dejat Lamont, Golden Age Stories, Midnight Space Monkey, Not Just Fun, Serenolin with No Eyes, Ciliana Valesh, Talking in Stations, Nephilim, Grendel, and Zolnex, as well as my immortal tier patron, Ebo Leet. Thank you guys so much. And all of the other supporters as well. I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm getting to the point where I can't actually list them all, so I have to only list the co-designers and above, which is the problem you want to have. So yeah, that's about it. I appreciate it, guys. I always feel like I'm missing something, and then I get off, and then I realize I am missing something. Make sure to claim those 7 days. You have actually. Speaking of 7 days, today is the last day for you to be able to start logging in and get all of your login rewards, including the 450,000 skill points that you get for logging in during this event, during the celebration of the expansion. So, and because they're giving you 7 days of Omega by going to the Nest store, if you just go to this store here, in the top left, there should be a thing that says, hey, for free, you can get 7 days of Omega. I don't have that because I already got it. So what you can do is you can just, if you trigger that anytime during the next 7 days, you get all of the Omega rewards too. So if you haven't started yet, start logging in every day this week and make sure that by the end of it, you activate the 7 days so that way you get all of the rewards. Yes, everybody gets 7 days of free of Omega right now, but you have to claim it by the 22nd. That's why I was saying, like, not only is this a good time to check out EVE again, you are legitimately foolish if you don't, in my opinion. Yeah, CCP really, really, really wants you to come back and check out what they are doing. And that actually is probably one of the most impressive things about this. Not because they're giving away a bunch of free shit, but because it shows a confidence in what they're doing that I have not seen from CCP since 2017. So, I mean, like, these dudes barely even advertised for a long time because they were so kind of embarrassed by their retention and all that stuff. So, we are in a new era of EVE Online, and I am excited to be part of it with you guys. Yeah. There's one other piece to that. I don't know. That's what it was. Stint. Thank you, Stinson. Yeah. The retroactive million skill points thing is now available. So if you haven't used a buddy code, if you haven't made an account, you can use my buddy code or anybody's buddy code, and you get 1 million SP for free. SP is earned over time, so a million SP is about 40 days of alpha training or 20 days or so of Omega training, paid account training. 40 days of free-to-play training, 20 days of paid account training, for free. And you can use this for any amount of accounts that you want. You can just make a bunch of clones, train them all in the Magic 14, and now you have a bunch of clones ready to go where you can use the million free SP to specialize them into whatever you want when you need them. Super useful. But and now, right now, you can make them Omega, which is kind of cool for 7 days. Make sure not to train non-alpha skills on them, but I digress. But even if you already have an account, you can now go in and put a buddy code in. Thanks. You can put a buddy code in your. You can retroactively sign up for a buddy code, right? So if you put in that buddy code there, you can still get it. Basically, everybody who hasn't used a buddy code before, you have 1 million free SP sitting there waiting for you. Actually, I think that because this buddy code was redone, even if you use the buddy code before 2017, you can use it again, I'm pretty sure. To put it into perspective, I buddy coded Ashtarothi to Invictus, my other account. Invictus was born second. So, And yesterday they took it down because of some technical issues, but I even messaged them about it and showed them my stuff, and they didn't have any problem with it. So that clearly wasn't the thing that was wrong. So make sure to get your 7 days. Make sure to get your 1 million SP. And make sure to get in, check out Faction Warfare because it's really fucking fun. Yeah, you can do it with old accounts. It's crazy sauce. How to enter the retroactive code? It should just be the same link, right? I think. Is it the same link? I think it's the same link. Yeah, because you just, instead of creating an account, it just says, I already have one. You can also buddy code. So the other interesting thing about that was because I did that buddy code to myself, I instantly got the 4 accelerators and the 15 days of Omega applied to my account. So because I'd already bought Plex and I'd already bought Omega with Ashtarothi at some point over the last 10 years, 12 years. So I'm so glad to see you guys, people saying that you're coming back and checking it out and all that stuff. That, you know what? That's what this is all for. I appreciate it. I'm here. And I guess with all that said, I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you all for checking it out. We are here to raise literacy of EVE Online, make sure people, because better pilots make a better game. Thank you for coming and checking it out. Please like, share, and all that stuff, my videos, so that way it gets out there to more people, and maybe, just maybe, we can have an amazing EVE together. But without further ado, as I said, I have been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space.